right, welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're ready for the finale of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, because by golly, that's what's gonna happen today. I am bound and determined to finish this game once and for all. And yeah, so I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. So let's go ahead and hop immediately in and see how this goes down. All right. We have got to be at the grand finale, I think. Okay. So, we are at the final showdown, as it were. I have to present some decisive evidence now, but can I? Let's see what we saw previously, because I'm gonna be real, I don't exactly remember what all we were talking about. Let's see. So there was no more evidence. Quietly withdraw. We're talking about the will. Strongheart is hiding something. Oh, I remember. Okay, so we had gotten evidence into the court record, I think. It was something, or maybe it wasn't evidence, but it was a poem. It was a poem about, oh, I remember. Where is it? Okay, so we got a new copy, or a new page added to the Ashogi papers. The mystical third page, right? Kazuma. The truth is shrouded in darkness, a darkness only our clan's great sword can pierce. Mighty Kuruma, twist thy head and watch them fall, all thy mortal foes. So he's talking to the sword, so it's got to be something on the sword, because Kuruma is the name of the sword. So we've already, like, unsheathed it, but is there something else we can do? Like, maybe there's a hidden compartment. Oh, let's see. Maybe? Mighty Kuruma, twist thy head and watch them fall, all thy mortal foes. That's the proper way to use the sword, is it? Maybe I should try it. It hurts my neck, that's the trouble. Mr. Naruto, if I might make a suggestion, I think perhaps it doesn't mean your head. That's what I was saying, because he's actually, in the poem, it's actually talking to the sword. Oh. I once studied the history and development of the katana some time ago, and as I'm sure you're probably aware, the sword's head is the part at the very end of the hilt. Okay. It's written as head in Japanese, but it's pronounced as Kashira, I believe. Kashira. So Mr. Ashoga's words really mean twist the butt of the hilt? You don't think... Okay, what is this? Ah, look what's inside it. Is that a tightly wound sheet of parchment? Is it the actual will of Clint? Oh, that looks like a Clint Van Zeek signature there. Scarlet ink? It's written in scarlet ink. I pin this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. This is it, isn't it? Mr. Naruto, look at the signature at the end. Clint Van Zeek's. And the date. 10 years ago on that fateful night. So for 10 years, it's been silently concealed inside Kuruma, and nobody knew. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zeek's. Oh boy. Wait, oh my goodness. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Okay, so there's something in there we gotta read. Clint Van Zeek's will has been entered into the court record. It's a trump card left behind by Genshin Ashogi. Oh, we gotta see this, man. Okay, let's see what there is here. Let's look at it. I can't even look at it. There's no option to look at it. Well, I have to present some decisive evidence now or it's all over. But can I? Oh yeah, we totally can. We got what you might call the proverbial nail in the coffin. Wait, my lord. As it happens, the defense does have evidence to present. What? Don't be absurd. There is nothing of relevance remaining from the time.
Objection!
It's high time that you realize something, my lord. This gentleman has an uncanny habit of producing evidence at the final hour that had escaped everyone else's attention. It's so nice that Benzies finally recognizes that about us. Like, after all this nonsense. What is it, Inosuke? What do you have? I dare say, the final decisive piece of evidence that will reveal the whole truth about this rotten tale. How can you? Decisive? Well, it would appear there's no escaping it now, my lord. Let it be so, then. Present whatever you think you have that can settle this decade-old enigma, if you're capable. What exactly is this evidence that the defense claims to be so decisive? Well, you see, about that, we have this little thing called a will.
Take that!
There is a single piece of evidence that can clarify what really happened 10 years ago. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. A wonderfully astute observation, I'm sure. But in case it had escaped your notice, that document was lost long, long ago. That's right, it was. Only... I have it right here. Discovered just moments ago. Impossible. That can't be. Everything that's happened comes back to this will. This document is the key that will unlock the entire mystery. He's so nervous that his entire life is about to crumble. My brother's last will and testament? Where did you find that? It was rolled up inside this. Inside Kuruma? And that ultimate weapon Genshin Ashogi obtained has lain undisturbed in the hilt of this sword all these years, just waiting for the right time to emerge and reveal the truth. Man, that's amazing. The signature and seal certainly look official. He doesn't know what to make it. It's true. It's my brother's handwriting. There can be no mistake. Oh boy. I forbid the contents of that document from being read out. Do you hear me? I strictly forbid it. Yeah, look at those drops of sweat on your face, sir. Let's not obstruct justice now in the home stretch.
Objection!
You can't do that, my lord. This document could explain everything. That document could literally destroy the meaning of justice in this country. I don't think so. I demand that you hand it to me at once. I'm sure you do. Why? What are you trying to hide exactly? Could it be that you already know what's written on this page? What are you implying? Court is adjourned with immediate effect. Clear the courtroom.
Objection!
Do that, my lord, and you'll suffer a fatal blow as Lord Chief Justice. I beg your pardon? Forcibly ending a trial without good reason, and not any trial, a close trial, by order of Her Majesty the Queen. To defy the monarch's will is treason. Oh man, it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be epic. Lord Clint Van Zieks really did pen a will that day? It's exactly as the young Japanese man said. Read it out. Now, we have a right to hear what's in that will. All right, and a duty. Well, my lord. It would rather appear as though proceedings aren't going to go quite as you'd hoped. You fools. Go ahead, Ryonosuke. Read it. The prosecution gives its full support. Very well, then. No. He's shaking. No! Oh, man. Oh, man. That is amazing. He knows. I pen this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. The hour is 11 p.m., and I sit at my writing desk in my office. My good friend Oshogi stands at my shoulder. He has expressed his intent to invoke the dying ritual of the duel, that I may depart this world with honor. An honor of which I am utterly undeserving. The Japanese are a truly merciful people. I, Clint Van Zieks, Lord of the Manor of the Van Zieks Estate, hereby confess to the following. I am the killer who has come to be known in society as the Professor, guilty of 4 counts of murder. I will not here discourse the corruption rife among the aristocracy, which is to me, as one of them, so apparent. However, 6 months ago, I took the life of a member of the House of Lords at the heart of the depravity. A demon who habitually sacrificed the common man to further his own interests, abusing his position of power. The law is impotent against such vile avarice. Only a fellow demon can rid society of this menace. That demon was my quarry, upon whom I willingly set my great hound. But though I am a hunter of some experience, I am a poor felon, it seems. My guilt was at once recognized by another, and I became subject to his extortion. Oh no. Lord Strongheart knew this whole time. Are you kidding me? He held over me the threat of exposing my wicked crime to my beloved wife and brother. Under that threat, I have done this man's bidding for months now, killing those he demanded I kill. As I watched my former mentor perish before my eyes at the jaws of the hound I commanded, I realized that I had lost the last shred of decency within me and sunk to the level of a wild beast. There is no path back to the light, be it I or my dear friend Shogi who dies this night. I am eternally damned. To my extortioner, male Strongheart, may you feel the jaws of the beast at your throat every time you swallow. Oh, man. What a bombshell. So now we know. Yes, Clint Van Zieks was a murderer. But somebody was directing him and naming his victims. His extortioner, Lord Male Strongheart. It was you. Lord Strongheart, a moment ago, you claimed that what the court has just heard could destroy justice in this country. But you weren't trying to protect justice at all. All you were trying to do was conceal the secret of your true nature and the countless lives you sacrificed up till now. I think his brain is broke. It just didn't make sense to me. And that's the third victim. The former Lord Chief Justice was my brother's benefactor and a man of lofty principles. As I said, Clint had no possible reason to kill the man. But you did, didn't you, Lord Strongheart? To eliminate the men who stood between you and the office you'd set your sights on. So you used your own hunting dog, Lord Clint Van Zieks, to take him down. It It had to be done. London's unsavory shadows are deep, and the arm of the law fails to reach their depths. Crime must be cut off at the roots, but the Lord Chief Justice at the time couldn't see that. He was weak. So you killed him for it? Lofty principles, you say, tantamount to cowardice, if you ask me. Which is why I took his place, in order to fight the crime, which he was allowing to spread like wildfire, by murdering the man. The Reaper, the Professor, the name makes no difference. As I've explained countless times already, it was all done for the furtherance of law and order in London.
Objection!
But there have been so many murders because of this. Are you going to legitimize the murder of my father now, too? Genshin Ashogi. Well, that was unfortunate. I had fully intended to send him back to Japan, as we'd agreed. I don't believe you. It was you, wasn't it? You killed him. No, it wasn't me who took your father's life. Then who? On the night following his mock execution, I went to Lowgate Cemetery at 3 in the morning with Jigoku. Judge Jigoku? There had to be a collaborator on the Japanese side to manage Ashogi's treatment after his repatriation. Jigoku had fierce ambition. It made him easy to manipulate. 10 years ago, after he'd stood trial for the destruction of the witness stand, I had words with him. When I told him the position of the Minister of Foreign Affairs could be his, he couldn't agree fast enough. Shishiro, you fool. As you know, Ashogi escaped the prison in a closed casket and was subsequently interred. We intended to dig him out of his grave before he ran out of air. But sadly, all did not go to plan. There was an unexpected visitor in the cemetery with his own ideas about digging up graves. A man who witnessed what nobody was supposed to see. Enoch Drebber. Of course, I knew grave robbers frequented London cemeteries. But that grave on that particular night. Blast. If people find out the convict wasn't really executed, the scandal will rock the very foundations of the empire. Then what do we do? Shoot him, Mr. Jigoku. Shoot Ashogi at once. He can't live now that this has happened. He has to go. What are you talking about? We had an agreement. Promised him he could return to Japan. Everything has changed now. If the truth got out because of this, both of us would be finished. Forever. Come on, Jigoku, do it. Pull the trigger. Oh, man. Man, the truth. The truth has come out. Jigoku shot Ashogi from the shadows. The grave robber was so close, the blood sprayed over his coat. He fled as fast as his legs would carry him. Then Jigoku and I put Ashogi's body back in the grave from which he had just emerged. When I later learnt of the waxwork modeler's presence at the scene as well, I made her swear to two things. Never to remove the professor's mask, and never to speak of the events of that night. And with that, the secret was buried along with Ashogi's corpse. So, now you know what really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night. So much bad, man. Everyone's just like, how do we even absorb all this? Crazy. It was Jigoku, your Japanese acquaintance, who killed Ashogi in the end, you see. He claimed to be the man's friend, but when push came to shove, he pulled the trigger. I mean, yeah, but you prompted him, so you're both at fault. Just before Mr. Jigoku left the courtroom earlier, he said that the assassin exchange proposal was a demand from his British counterpart, not a request. So coerced him too, using what happened in the graveyard. By that time, Jigoku was Minister of Foreign Affairs, negotiating international treaties with Britain. You can imagine what would have happened if it came to light he'd murdered a compatriot 10 years earlier. He would have lost everything. I merely reminded him of that. How do you sleep at night? These past 10 years, I've fought tirelessly with the darker recesses of London's criminal underworld, and I've used whatever means necessary to ensure that justice prevails and law and order reigns.
Objection!
That couldn't be further from the truth. The fact is, you haven't fought a crime at all. How dare you? I saved Clint Van Zeeks from dishonor in death.
Objection!
It was behind the scenes. You systematically buried anyone who stood in your way. And then you made my father take the blame. It was unavoidable. It was the only way to protect our justice system and public order. Let's not forget about the others you killed as well, or had killed as well. Setting the defendant up as the Reaper to cover up the truth behind the murders of countless more. That's enough. Do you have any idea of the conniving that led to the acquittals of those wretched criminals? We have to fight fire with fire. Our courts can't function without a Reaper. Can't you see all I've done for this country? This has been my struggle.
Objection!
I mean, it's a corrupt struggle. You've done nothing. It's Lord Van Zeeks here, who worked tirelessly and justly in court, whilst enduring the disgrace of the Reaper name. He's surprised that he's all of a sudden standing up for him. And Inspector Gregson, fraught with anguish for having sullied his hands through a desire to do the right thing. Not to mention Genshin Ashogi, who risked his life in pursuit of the truth you tried to hide. No, the darker resources of London's underworld were largely filled by you. You little, when will you get it through your thick skulls? That it was all for Queen and Country. I'm tiring of that excuse. You've consistently twisted the truth for bargaining power to make others do your bidding. Nothing, no more. People who willingly twist the truth and coerce others have no right to call themselves part of the judiciary. I strongly suggest you don't ever talk of justice again. He's just like completely. Man, he's just like, he's completely crazy. What are we gonna do? He's sitting there like, what? Well, 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 dear me, my good fellows, dear me. A well-deserved round of applause, I think, for a quite marvelous performance. What are you talking about? Have you lost your mind? Those delightfully grave expressions, not beautifully pronounced Queen's English. Really, our friends from the Far East are quite the picture of industriousness. What? Keep your mockery. Please, don't misunderstand. It really is exactly as you both said. What are you trying to say? I have occupied the darker recesses of London's underworld and, how did you put it, done nothing? I confess it's a little embarrassing to have it pointed out quite so starkly, but yes, I really have done nothing, which means I can be indicted for nothing. No? What? What? It's true. Personally, I have committed no crime. I've merely been surrounded by fools. who've acted very rashly indeed. I hate to break it to you, but that is in fact a crime.
Objection!
The manipulation stuff. You can't get away with that. You've consistently preyed on people's weaknesses. And what? Threatened them? Are you sure it wasn't just bargaining? I mean, the simple fact of the matter, if nothing else, you withheld knowledge of a crime. I would like to address all the good lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the judiciary here present. You all know these darker recesses in our great capital, and deep down, I believe you also know that to fight those who dwell there requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves. Where are you going with this, my guy? So let me appeal to your good sense now. Consider the situation with me. If this catalogue of horrifying revelations were to become common knowledge about the 6 million inhabitants of London, what might happen? To learn that the infamous murderer of royals and nobles was a respected member of the aristocracy himself. That evidence was fabricated in the scapegoat's trial amid secret negotiations with prosecutors to effect a jailbreak. That the Reaper of the Bailey was an organized group of assassins managed by a Scotland Yard inspector. And finally, that it was all masterminded by the Lord Chief Justice himself. If the general public of Britain knew the truth, all faith in the police and the prosecutor's office would be completely lost, without a doubt. Public order in the capital would completely break down, would be cast back to the lawless days of the last century. Precisely as it was 100 years ago, when 1 in 10 of the population were criminals. Think what we've accomplished since then. A public policing force, a comprehensive set of laws. And if we want to continue to protect this new era of law and order, I say again, we must at all times occupy the darkness ourselves. That is some twisted logic, my guy. We have successfully identified and apprehended the man responsible for taking Inspector Gregson's life. That is all that was expected of this trial. All these other matters that have been discussed will be eliminated from the minutes of these proceedings in the interest of preserving law and order. But no, we can't do that. And to protect Her Majesty the Queen, of course. Well, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, what say you? That's not even right. We cannot do that. He has a point. The things Lord Strongheart has done are quite unforgivable. But on the other hand, isn't it our duty to maintain law and order in the capital? You can't deny that the threat of the Reaper over the years has done wonders for the crime rate. And by fair means or foul, that's all thanks to Lord Strongheart. Are you kidding me? He's already manipulating them. No. Are you hearing this? This is not right. This is the will of the British judiciary. Of course, for your rousing response, friends, I express my heartfelt gratitude. Therefore, in accordance with the overwhelming wishes of the court, the record shall be erased. You have to respect the man's ability to turn a situation to his favor. We cannot let him do that. Lord Strongheart really is a master of manipulation. You've conclusively proven his guilt. Yet still he manages to evade justice. I just don't know what we can do. Unosuke. It looks like the trial really is going to come to an end now. I'm almost out of options, I think. There's really only one path left open to me. Raise an objection, use evidence, wait and see. We don't really have any evidence. Well, we have to object. Yes, when all the games are over, it's the obvious choice. We can't do that. Let my voice reverberate around the courtroom and make people listen to reason.
Objection!
was the easy part. But what do I say next? As a man who has fought many battles in this very courtroom, let me offer some advice. Objections need substance behind them. Otherwise, they are merely objectionable. Okay, so not an objection? The defense has no objection to being penalized in this instance? Okay. So, okay. Well, we can't wait and see.
You're not, Mr. Naruto. I certainly won't object if you decided to make perhaps a wiser choice now.
Yes, right. A wise choice, of course. Here it comes. Okay, so there's really only one other option then. It has to be some kind of evidence. Okay. The only thing that carries any weight in court is hard evidence.
But Mr. Naruto, what evidence is there to use at this stage in the trial?
I have an idea. A great pursuit. Welcome in, Astro Dude. I don't know whether anything will come of it, but if there was ever a time for using this particular item we have among the evidence, it's now. Okay, so let's look and see. What about we were supposed to be used. A little doll of Mr. Sholmes in hair form. I've been told to tug its ears if I find myself at a dead end. This is about as a dead of end as we can get. Let's try it.
Take that!
Because we were given it and we haven't used it yet.
Oh my. Yes, Mr. Sholmes asked if you had that with you earlier.
We've exposed all of Lord Strongheart's wrongdoing now. I've no doubt that Mr. Sholmes had already deduced exactly how the truth would unfurl. So I think it must be time for the great detective to take center stage, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. Let's take the hair by the ears then, and heave.
All right, here goes. Heave. Ow, 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 ow. My dear fellows, must I remind you every time? A gentle tug will suffice. Mr. Sholmes, you're looking in quite the wrong direction, Mr. Naruto, because I'm over here.
Mr. Naruto,
He just materializes.
It's Mr. Sholmes.
He's like a hologram man. That's crazy. I wasn't expecting you back, Sholmes. Delighted to be here again, Lord Strongheart. What is the meaning of this? Bailiff, seize him. Put that man in irons. I think you're gonna find you have a little difficulty with that. Just saying. This is a closed court. You've been warned once already, ma'am. We can't get a hold of him, my lord. We just keep going right through him. I'm afraid your efforts are wasted. You see, the great detective you see before you is composed entirely of light and shadow, an image, if you will.
Mr. No.
Whoops. Imagine the mocap studio here, man. Mr. Naruto, I must congratulate you on your fine deductions. Mr. Sholmes, what on earth is... Are you familiar, I wonder, with the invention known as the telephone? Well, yes, I hear that some public telephones have been installed recently in Tokyo.
The sound of the speaker's voice is converted to an electrical signal and transmitted instantly to another place.
Right, sounds are transmitted, so could not images keep them company? I'm amused. Iris and I did some modest experimentation to develop such a device specifically for this very day.
Modest experimentation, Mr. Sholmes. What a modest description.
And somewhat instantly, I thought we might just as well transmit an entire scene. Somewhat incidentally, Mr. Sholmes, now you're just being immodest. Do you mean to say you're not actually here, Sholmes? I knew my trusty partner would have no trouble grasping the concept. Except he's grasping the stand to steady himself after your shock arrival.
Oh, Father, I would have hoped you might have been forewarned, being the great detective's great partner.
Leave my courtroom at once. Get out, or I swear to you. Dear me, you, on the other hand, Lord Strongheart, appear to have a very poor grasp of the situation. Allow me to reiterate, I am not here, which would, I hope, lead naturally to one asking, where exactly are you? The very question I was awaiting. I am at present enjoying the air in a rather splendid garden. A garden? Not just any garden, you understand? A garden at Buckingham Palace. Sholmes is going to tattle to the Queen. What? You can't be Buckingham Palace? What's Buckingham Palace, Mr. Sato? I've never heard of it.
Do you ever read the news, Mr. Naruto?
She's like, you're hopeless. Mr. Sholmes, is Iris with you there? Ah, well now, Iris is currently enjoying some tea. With Her Majesty. Her Majesty? Not just any Her Majesty, you understand? Her Majesty the Queen of the British Empire. What? What on earth is this all about?
Buckingham Palace is Her Majesty the Queen's residence in London, Mr. Naruto.
Order in the court. I demand immediate silence. Her Majesty the Queen, you can't be. I mean, no. This is some sort of unforgivably distasteful trickery by a third-rate detective, that's all. Unforgivably distasteful trickery? What an apt description. A closed court session attended by elite members of the judiciary is a rare event. I presume that Her Majesty would be more than a little curious about the proceedings. So I decided to show her everything, from start to finish. I showed her? Indeed. By dint of the Herlock Sholmes remote cinematograph. You meddling. This is some kind of nightmare. Just as I appear to be standing before you, regaling you with talk of my latest invention, no doubt you've inferred that the reverse is also true. You don't mean? Her Majesty has seen and heard every moment of the proceedings. I assumed there would be no objection after all. Every trial in this country is conducted under the auspices of Her Majesty, as you know. You... I confess I am quite impatient to hear Her Majesty's opinion, as am I. This should be good. About the unforgivable, distasteful trickery in which you've been engaged over the past 10 years. No, I was merely...
Oh, I'm so sorry to keep you all waiting. Vicky and I had so much to talk about. Iris, there you are. In fact, I have a little message here from Her Majesty.
A message? Well then, if everyone is sitting comfortably, ahem. Forthwith and with immediate effect, all authority previously afforded to male Strongheart is hereby revoked forevermore. Furthermore, he will be prosecuted for crimes against his country in a public trial by jury in the coming days. So, it seems that Her Majesty doesn't believe we needed to fight fire with fire. Justice in this country needn't be administered from the shadows at all. Male Strongheart. A darkness you fostered to conceal your despicable actions these last 10 years is a thing of the past now. After today, your brand of law and order has no future, because no longer are you the Lord Chief Justice. In the eyes of the law and of Her Majesty the Queen, you are nothing but a criminal. You're fired. Exactly. What a way to get fired, man. That's crazy. Adjourned. 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 Court is adjourned. He's ruined. They all go to guilty. Of course they do. So far to guilty. That it breaks is just like, there is absolutely no... Wow. There is no less guilt that you can have here. Well, that's amazing. That's insane. His guilt is off the scale. Exactly. And that's crazy. Now what? Oh boy. Lord Clint Van Zeeks left a will in which he confessed to everything. When those words came out of Ashogi's mouth, it deranged me completely. I knew I must do anything and everything in my power to contain the situation. But I couldn't find the document. I searched the cell, but it wasn't there. Which precipitated the jail plot, I presume? Oh, what do you mean? The need to obtain that will was all-consuming. I was sure that if I facilitated Ashogi's escape, he would emerge with the will somewhere on his person. But despite searching his limp body in the cemetery that night, it still eluded me. It's never even crossed my mind that it was concealed in the sword's hilt. Man, just imagine if he'd found it, none of this would have come out. He'd still be running his crooked organization. People would still be so unhappy. What pains me now is that my brother left this world without a word to me. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zeeks.
In point of fact, I think perhaps that isn't the case.
Sorry? How can that be?
There is more to his last will and testament.
What? There was a final clause to his brother, I imagine. As I confront the prospect of my demise, I feel bitter regret for my younger brother. Barrack, you have always looked up to me, and now you follow in my footsteps to become a prosecutor. It is my fervent wish that my unspeakable deed should not hinder your advancement. I ask not for understanding, for none could understand my depravity. I ask only for forgiveness. Will he forgive?
Ashogi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final two wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find a resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my quill. Clint Van Zeeks.
A 10-year-old pain. And it was his idol. Everyone's just like, what do we even make of this? So much like internalizing of all the drama. Male Strongheart, you colluded with Sheshiro Jigoku in a criminal plot so immense it spanned the oceans. And you cold-heartedly murdered all those who knew the truth about what happened 10 years ago. But why did you set about that now, a whole decade later? To ascend to the very peak. What? Those last 10 years made me realize being the Lord Chief Justice wasn't enough. Short of becoming Her Majesty's Attorney General, I could have no real power to effect the changes needed in this country. And for that promotion, I needed to ensure no remnant of the past remained. How could you? I like everything to run smoothly, in the exact manner that I prescribe, like a well-oiled machine, like a clock. And I was just a step away. And for your ambition to succeed, did you even bother to count the number of brilliant people you had killed? That's my point. So many people died for this plot. Ah, Mr. Reaper, are you not forgetting something? Such as... You've very much adopted your usual prosecutor-like demeanor in the proceedings now. But the reality of the situation is that you are the defendant in this trial. However, the presiding judge would appear to have fallen from the bench, as it were. May I suggest, therefore, that we entrust the final adjudication to an old friend. Santa's back, guys! He's gonna bring everyone's Christmas wishes come true. My lord. As a member of the judiciary, I have been following the proceedings from the gallery. And I must say, I shan't ever forget the extraordinary battle between good and evil that I witness here today. Is it time for the final not guilty? The darkness that has blighted justice in our land these past 10 years has at last been dispelled. Thanks in no small part to the efforts of a bright young star from the east. Defense Counsel Naruhodo. Yes, my lord? On behalf of everyone here present at the Old Bailey, I give you my heartfelt thanks. You're too kind, my lord. The first time I faced you in court, just under a year ago now, I had the faintest of intimations that British justice, so warped and twisted over its long history, was finally to know change. This might just be the man to do it. If you knew that at the beginning, you definitely did not make it known, sir. What? Exactly. But at the time, I wouldn't allow myself to acknowledge the possibility, because you hated all Japanese. Yep, I couldn't overcome my hatred of the Japanese after the circumstances of my brother's death. Mr. Naruhodo, allow me to apologize for countless discourtesies on my part. You are a lawyer of boundless talent.
Oh, Lord Van Zeeks.
He's like, well then, when I first arrived in Great Britain, I was literally a nobody, certainly not a lawyer. The truth is, my fortunes have entirely been made by the miraculous people I've met. My best friend, Kazuma Ashogi, who led me here to Britain in the first place. My loyal and ever-patient judicial assistant, Mr. Sato, who helped me study to become a lawyer. The brilliant Lord Van Zeeks, who never failed to challenge his Nipponese rival. And not to mention, the exceptional master of logic and reasoning who showed me the true art of deduction, Mr. Sholmes. Saving the best for last, Mr. Naruhodo, what a relief! I'm well aware that without all these people's help and support, I wouldn't be where I am today. The truth is a guiding light that always leads to happiness. I've lived by that principle for a long time now, but actually it's not true. ... The truth can also cause great pain, sometimes even leave people on the brink of despair.
For that reason, there are those who feel the need to hide the truth, who do it instinctively even.
But as soon as we allow our eyes to settle on something other than the truth, the darkness takes hold. And from there, it grows until eventually it makes us blind to the guiding light of the truth altogether. So that's why my belief that we must all resolve never to avert our eyes from what is just and true. Nice. So that we can continue to walk the straight and narrow path ahead. Well, I must excuse myself now. But before I go, Mr. Naruhodo, let me compliment you on your grand opus. What? Without your beautifully composed case against Lord Strongheart, Her Majesty would have been unable to act. Thanks to you and your fellows, the haunting undertones corrupting Britain's justice system have been silenced. Thank you very much. Wow. So until our paths cross again somewhere. And he's gone. Well then. It would appear that this long trial has finally come to an end. It was a very long trial. It has spanned 2 cases. My apologies for any anxiety caused, my lord. I'm quite sure we shall meet again here in the courtroom before long. Prosecutor Berg Van Zinks. In conclusion of these proceedings, I hereby declare the defendant, Berg Van Zinks, not guilty. Of course. Yay! Nice. Of course, we knew he was not guilty a while back, but it's nice to hear it finally proclaimed. My goodness. That is all. Court is adjourned. I have to say, I much prefer just the normal hammer instead of all these weird things that people have been slapping that thing with, the unicorn stick and whatnot. 4th November, 421, the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh boy. It really is all over. Did I sacrifice too much?
Mr. Naruhodo. I really must congratulate you. It was a truly splendid performance. Honestly, I couldn't be happier for you.
Oh, thank you very much. But I really couldn't have done it without you at my side through it all, Mrs. Otto.
Oh. Your kind words mean so much to me.
He's gonna cry.
It really was a very splendid show, that, Mr. Naruhodo. I had thought you'd be smiling from ear to ear, but you look rather glum.
We don't have anything to say? Well, of course I'm delighted about the verdict, but in exposing the truth, I'm afraid I've caused my client a great deal of pain. I'm really not sure that's what a lawyer ought to be doing.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm quite sure that when you see Lord Van Zink's smiling face, everything will seem much better.
I don't think she's gonna see his smiling face. There is no Van Zink's smiling face. Mrs. Otto, everything seems worse. He has a face like thunder.
Oh dear, I really shouldn't have presumed.
I mean, does he ever smile? I have never seen him smile.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
Almost a year has been now since I first encountered you, here in this very courthouse. For you to have risen to the level of excellence you demonstrated today, well, it's quite remarkable.
But I exposed the most unpalatable truth you could ever have imagined in court today. I feel as though I've robbed you of something you held so dear. What was it he said? To fight those who dwell in the darkness requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves. But that was just the feeble excuse of a coward. Only those with a steadfast eye for the truth have what it takes to fight the dark forces of crime. You made fine work of establishing that fact in court today. Oh. Wow. Thank you.
What magnanimous words! I'm quite sure that Kazuma-sama would have a smile on his face at this very moment if he were here.
Have you met Kazuma? Like, seriously, you're very optimistic, Kazuma. Yeah, like I said, she is very overestimating of people's smiles. Miss Susato? There's another face like thunder here.
Oh my, and he really was here.
Lord Van Zeeks, allow me to congratulate you on your acquittal.
Congratulate me or curse me. You failed to bring down the Reaper.
I owe you an apology.
I think we did bring down the Reaper. No, it is I who should apologize. Your father, Genshin, if I had been stronger, then perhaps I made an unforgivable error of judgment. I can offer no excuse. Everybody's made mistakes,
And I can offer no forgiveness. That said, I suppose you fought for justice and the truth. For that at least, I can't withhold respect.
they can come to like an uneasy truce, I guess.
Your words mean more to me than you could know. I will hold them dear.
Kazuma-sama.
Like his world is turned upside down too.
I must say, there's one thing that's still bothering me.
What's that?
The will that Lord Clint Van Zeeks wrote before his duel with my father. Shogi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final two wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my coin. Clint Van Zeeks. What can the second of his final wishes have been?
I assume that was for him to kill him, right?
Let your father agree to honor, you mean?
Like, he agreed to win the duel? I think perhaps. Who's speaking?
I might be able to shed some light on that.
What?
Father.
It was 10 years ago, as you know. The day before the execution was scheduled, I went to the prison to say my farewells to Genshin.
Oh boy.
Why aren't you putting up more of a fight, Genshin? If you'd only agreed to it, Shishiro and I would gladly petition the government. We've been through this already. You don't need to worry about me. Anyway, Yuji, I have a favor to ask of you. Something of a great importance.
What is it? I'm curious.
You're one of my greatest friends, Genshin. Whatever it is, consider it done. I'm going to tell you the address. I need you to go there at once, in secret, and telling no one. You should find a lady of the gentry in hiding there. A lady of the gentry. She's not in a good way, and she's with child. The birth is imminent. As a medical man, I'd like you to attend her. Please, you're her only hope. By any chance, is the child yours, Genshin? Don't be daft. It's a favor that was asked of me by a man I knew, as his dying wish.
Oh, is this the mystery of Iris's dad?
My goodness. I swore to the man that I would help. That I would do whatever I could for his wife and his unborn child. But if something should happen to me, I need to ask you that same favor. You're the only person I know that I can truly rely on.
I'm wondering.
What did you say? If something should happen to you, tomorrow night you're going to be... You'll never know though, do you? What life will bring. All right then, tell me the address. I'll head there at once, with Shishiro and... No, not with him. Pardon? This is a favor I'm asking of you, and only you, Yurchin.
Okay.
Right, I see. Very well then.
Okay. So,
that very night, I caught a train from Paddington to Dartmoor in Devon. I found the old house in the middle of nowhere. It was an old hunting hound lay asleep on the grounds.
so it would be Clint's house, right?
The poor woman was on the floor in the back of a darkened room. She was in mortal danger. I broke her waters to precipitate the labor before she weakened further, but it was a torturous birth. I did everything humanly possible for her and her child.
But in the end, she died? I'm guessing.
And in the end, I was lucky enough to welcome a new life into the world. But tragically, my efforts to save the mother's life were in vain. I held the healthy newborn girl in my arms and wept for longer than I care to remember.
It's gonna be Iris, guys, I'm telling you.
Eventually, in something of a daze, I looked around the room.
Is that the trunk?
There was precious little in it, but an old travel trunk caught my eye.
That's the one in Sholmes' suite.
It had clearly been well looked after over the years, made of top-quality leather with fine stitching. But it was when I saw the emblem on the side of it that everything dropped into place.
Oh my goodness.
B or Baskerville.
Baskerville? You mean the woman was the wife of Lord Clint Van Zieks? Yeah.
That's right. The newborn was his daughter.
But that makes no sense. Why on earth wouldn't Clint have entrusted the child to my care in that case? I was completely unaware that he even had a daughter. I suppose he didn't really have any choice.
What?
Well, your brother said that he'd confessed everything to his wife, so she must have been beside herself with worry for her child. If the true identity of the professor were ever to be made public, the girl would be forever branded as the daughter of the infamous mass murderer. That's true.
So the only solution was to distance the young girl from the Van Zieks family as much as possible. I don't believe it. I imagine that in his final hour, Lord Clint Van Zieks made the obvious choice. He would have thought to himself, this Japanese man here is someone I can trust.
So I think that's what Mikitoba was doing.
I honored my promise to Genshin, of course. However, only a month later, I was summoned back to Japan, and without disclosing the parentage of the child, I couldn't obtain permission to take her with me.
It's Iris.
Oh, how awful.
I was completely at a loss. In the end, I had to ask my great friend. I asked him if he would be a father to her.
That being Mr. Sholmes, I presume.
Yes. He took one look into my eyes, and agreed to it on the spot. Mr. Sholmes, he has a heart of gold. Really, all it can be said that I did for the child was to give her a name.
Oh?
When I'd come to Britain, I was trying to escape from the grief of losing my darling wife. So it was her name that I gave to the little girl.
Your wife's name, Professor Mikatoba. In other words...
The name of my mother. Ayami Mikatoba.
Oh.
That's right, Ayami. Or in English, Iris.
I knew it. Iris. Oh boy, oh boy.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I remember when we were thinking that they were sisters. So it's sort of being it. Iris being delivered to Yujin and named for Ayami are the next best thing to actually being Sasato's sister. Exactly.
Mr. Naruto, what's wrong?
This little thing just pinched me on the behind of my trouser pocket hard. Ah, my dear fellows, can you hear me? Mr. Sholmes, is that you? Ding dong. Ouch! Yes, we can hear you. Stop pinching my butt. You see what excessive tugging can do? Let that be a lesson to you.
Mr. Sholmes, we weren't able to thank you properly before, but you were simply marvelous. Your checkmate move was a stroke of genius.
Indeed it was, wasn't it? I surpassed myself, I feel. It had become apparent to me that to stop the Lord Chief Injustice would require such measures.
Runo, Susie.
Oh, Iris. Lord Van Seeks.
Oh, I'm so pleased. What a wonderful outcome. Her Majesty Queen Vicky said she thought my special blend was delicious.
Oh, I'm sure she did. After all, no one brews a more delicious tea than you do, Iris.
Let's have a party to celebrate. And Mr. Reaper, you simply must come too.
Oh, I mean, technically she's your niece.
I'm afraid I couldn't.
The Reaper of the Bailey, flustered by a 10-year-old girl again.
No, really? Oh, pooh.
But I give you my word that I shall present myself at your residence in the near future to express my gratitude.
Oh, how lovely! You've promised now. I won't let you forget. Bye for now, then.
All right, Iris. Thank you for all your help earlier.
Oh, that was nothing. Just come back home soon.
Oh, boy. He's getting pinched again. Ugh. One final pinch goodbye, was it? Oh, boy. So, where to now? Oh, he's sort of smiling now.
Well, I think I ought to be leaving. Lord Menzies, would you care to accompany me?
Certainly. The two stern-faced individuals are off. Mr. Naruto, allow me once again to express my deep gratitude to you. I believe you saved my life. He is truly of the nobility, guys. Wait, Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. What are you intending to do now? Well, clearly, I shall have to resign from the prosecutor's office.
Oh, no.
I intend to publicize the full truth about the professor case. Once that's done, the Van Zeeks family will be ostracized completely from London society.
Surely not.
Yeah, it would be a shame to ostracize the whole family for one individual's actions. So as soon as I'm free from my employment, I shall leave the capital. Oh, I see. Don't be a fool. Who's that talking? Oh, him. Okay.
Are those the actions of a man once feared as the mighty Reaper of the Bailey?
I beg your pardon.
For the past 10 years, you've endured that pseudonym and been cast as one of the dark forces yourself. Now that you've finally been freed from that disrepute, your battle is just beginning, surely. Well, I certainly never expected to hear those words from your lips. I waited a very long time to come to London. Now I'm properly here. I intend to learn all that I can. Anyway, goodbye for now. Ryonosuke Norodo.
Oh boy. Kazuma Shogi. It seems as though he's really matured suddenly.
He's not the only one who's matured, Mr. Naruto. Well, I think we should make our way back to Baker Street. We must help Iris with tonight's dinner.
We must. Oh boy, I wonder if Lord Venzix will actually show up. That would be amazing. It was then that I came to an important decision about my future. What is it? What is the decision? Oh yeah, he had a decision about whether to stay in England or go back to Japan with Professor Mikotoba. 4th November, 6:25, Sholmes' suite. So I guess he's made his decision. I'm home. Oh boy. About time you got here. We've been waiting ages, Odo. What are you doing with that colorful piece of history? It's a party, isn't it? It's got to go off with a bang. I mean, fireworks, ideally. But when you ain't got fire, smoke's the next best thing, ain't it? There's a girl in Fresno Street who could help you with that, I think. Right? I'll remember that. You don't really have to reload that thing every time I speak. Let's see, who is speaking this? You really must hear this. It's quite the most extraordinary thing. Oh, I assure you it will defy your expectations. Take down every detail now, Mikotoba. Ah, the world-famous great detective, regaling his partner with the tale of his adventure, a sight to behold. Would you care to hazard a guess? Where do you suppose the fiendish runaway had concealed himself? Would you believe? Inside the trunk I found abandoned in his cabin.
I would believe it, yes.
I see, Mikotoba, I detect not a hint of surprise.
I wonder why that is, Maybe because I was there at the scene as well, Sholmes.
What? You were? Then why the deuce did you say so before? Not quite the sight I was expecting to behold, but still. It's hard not to feel privileged to see it. Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Professor Mikotoba. I'm finally back from the Bailey. And not a moment too soon. A feast prepared by Iris and Mitsusato awaits.
I must say, I haven't seen Susato looking so happy in a very long time.
Ah, Runo, there you are. Dinner is on the table, everyone. Please do come and take a seat.
Time to fill me boots. Oh boy, all the friends we've made over the years, or over the past year.
Goodness, is it really true, Gina?
Well, I'm losing my coppers, Clobber, and going back to what I know best. It's a diver's life for me.
You're really leaving the police force? But why, Ginny?
Well, the boss ain't around no more, so...
Oh.
Anyway, no matter how hard I try, that Reaper ain't never gonna accept a diver turned dick, is he?
Well, people can change, you know?
Oh, yes, that reminds me. I rather thoughtfully offer to relieve the bailiff of this now defunct piece of evidence. Eh? It's the inspector's pocket watch, and the crown has been reattached.
Its watch was his pride and joy, a symbol of his great achievements at Scotland Yard. For 10 years, without fail, it measured every second of the man's remarkable career.
But now, it stopped.
Is she gonna give it to? Is he gonna give it to Gina? Someone needs to keep the memory of Inspector Gregson's career alive by taking on the great responsibility of winding that watch every single day again.
Yes, someone with an equally fierce detective spirit.
It's gotta be me. That ain't no one else.
Quite right.
I mean, after all, the boss was... Well, he was my boss.
Yes, Ginny, yes, he was.
Oh yeah, and I made you a promise and all, didn't I, Iris? That I'd become a proper detective one day and track down your old man. Oh. Alright, then it's decided. I'll do it, and I swear I'll find your dad and bring him in kicking and screaming. I think you're gonna have a little difficulty with that, Gina. Just saying. I'm not entirely sure that would be appropriate. Yes, I think, Gina, it might be best to, well...
I think I'd like you to forget that promise, Ginny.
Hey? Iris?
Well, obviously I've always wondered about who my real daddy is. Of course I have. I wanted to know where I've come from. I thought it might tell me something about myself. But I've caused such a lot of trouble trying to find out for so many people. Early, Bruno, Professor Mickey.
Oh no, not at all, my dear. Really, you owe no apology to anyone.
Well, anyway, I've decided to give up on it because I finally realized my daddy is the greatest in the world. I don't think it matters what his name is or where he's from. Don't you agree? Hurley?
With every word, Iris.
Thank you, Hurley. Thank you, Daddy.
She's finally gonna call him Dad. I think Miktoba.
Yes, Sholmes.
I think I ought to express my gratitude to you.
Oh,
For 6 years, you and I solved many a mystery together. And during that time, I remember countless expressions of gratitude for our good services. But a moment ago, I heard the most pleasing expression of gratitude of them all, and I should never have experienced it. The word's not for you.
you old softy, Sholmes. But I must confess, it's a weight off my mind to hear you say it.
Well, then, I think this calls for a lengthy violin recital, wouldn't you say?
Oh, well, the food would go cold. That's the only problem. Maybe next week, Hurley?
Are you sure a week is long enough, Iris? Oh boy. Even amidst the most troubling of cases, even reeling from the most shocking of revelations, returning in the evening to this suite of rooms, there is always warmth and happiness to be had. Of course there is. The home of the world's greatest detective, and my home too, with my greatest family. Oh boy. Alright, 4th of November, 9:37 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Now I guess we're going to talk to Susato. This attic room has been my home and office for almost a year now. I've certainly had some unforgettable experiences whilst I lived here. But I think now the time has come. Time to bid this place farewell. Okay, so he's just starting to leave. Naruhodo. I assume that's going to be Mikotoba, yeah. Oh, Professor.
Are you alone? I didn't hear any sound from Susato's room.
Yes, Susato-san went out after dinner. She took a carriage. Something about an important matter she needed to take care of.
Ah, I see.
He's going to ask us again?
I wanted to thank you for what you did earlier.
Oh?
With Iris, I mean, when the subject of her father came up.
Lord Clint Van Zeeks.
I made up my mind many years ago never to tell her who her real father was. It's what we agreed with Genshin, after all.
Lord Clint Van Zeek's final wishes before he died, you mean?
Yes, I've had to take some rather drastic steps at times to protect that secret, you know. Calling Susato back to Japan 6 months ago, for example.
That's why?
When I read Susaki-san's report about his final days in London, my heart nearly stopped. You'd stumbled across the crux of that terrible case, the dog's collar. The description of the Baskerville insignia left me in no doubt.
Baskerville.
If you decided to investigate that insignia, sooner or later you'd have made the connection to the Van Zeeks. And to make matters worse, Susato knew of the unpublished story as well. The story that Iris had written based on my notes from the time.
Ah yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Exactly. It was a work of fiction, but based on the grim reality of a huge beast of a dog being used as a murder weapon. A dog with the Baskerville family emblem around its neck. Armed with those two clues, I feared you and Susato might arrive at the truth. So I invented that story about having collapsed to justify her leaving London and returning to Japan at once. All in the aid of halting any investigations you and she might have been contemplating.
I see. Something I've never understood is why Susato-san came across that manuscript in Japan, though. You know, Iris is the Hound of the Baskerville story, I mean.
Sholmes sent it to me, and that was before Susato left Japan. He was very troubled about what should be done about it, you see. I'd read it and carelessly left it on my desk, which is where Susato came across it, of course.
Ah, okay.
It was the only case Sholmes and I ever pursued that I didn't record in meticulous detail. I was stunned when I discovered that young Iris had pieced so much of it from my paltry notes. Sholmes and I discussed the matter and decided that we couldn't allow the story's publication. At that point, I returned the manuscript by post to Sholmes for safekeeping.
So you did all that to stop Iris from finding out the truth about her father?
That's right, because Sholmes had told me how astute she'd become. However, having witnessed events in court today, I must say my opinion has somewhat shifted.
Oh?
I think at some point in the future, the time will come for Iris to know the truth. And when it does, well, I believe it will be for the best.
That way she'll be able to have a relationship with Lord Van Zeeks, you know, as her uncle. I think so too. Actually, Professor, I wanted to talk to you about something too.
Judging from that expression, I'd say you've come to a decision, have you?
Yes, I have. I will be returning with you to Japan.
Are you quite sure?
I'm really only here as a substitute for Kazuma, but he's here in Britain now, as originally intended. A locum student in Norohodo doesn't really have a right to stay, I think. That's true.
I see.
Looking back now, when I first arrived here in February, it's come a long way since then. My becoming a lawyer just seemed to be the way things turned out. With Kazuma, Susato-san, and Mr. Sholmes all gently pushing me in that direction. I I spent the best part of a year immersed in this world, but always aware of a seed of doubt inside of me. Until today. Standing in that courtroom earlier, all doubts vanished from my mind. I was totally focused. I was sure of my belief in my client, and I was sure I could see the trial through. And at the end of it, I finally realized no one else chose this path for me. I chose it myself.
The path of a defense lawyer, eh?
Yes, that's what I am now. That's what I'll be going back with you to Japan as. And that's the path I'll be following for the rest of my life.
Well, it sounds like you've made quite a resolution there.
I have.
Very well then. I must say, it's extremely welcome news. I shall make arrangements for your return first thing tomorrow, but I don't imagine we'll depart for a few days.
Not with the symposium having been canceled now. Such a shame.
Never mind. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities in the future. Well then, I'll bid you good night.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, it all makes sense. All the pieces are being neatly tied together. Oh, is she here? Susato-san?
I just wanted to let you know I'm back.
Now we gotta tell her. Did you, hear what your father and I were discussing?
I'm sorry, I did, yes. I couldn't help, but...
Oh, how much did you hear?
Well... from the part about Iris's real father, I think.
In other words, from the beginning.
So you've made up your mind. You'll return to Japan and continue working as a defense lawyer.
Yes. I'm sorry. I really should have consulted you about it. I did want to earlier this evening, actually, but you'd already gone out.
Oh no, that's quite all right. I already knew that it's what you decide, Naruhodo-san.
You did? She knew us better than we knew ourselves. Oh boy. Susato-san?
Huh? Yes?
I suppose this means it has to be a farewell soon.
I suppose.
You'll be a great help to Kazuma going forward. I mean, I know he's a brilliant lawyer, but he's new to the British courtroom. He'll certainly benefit greatly having a brilliant judicial assistant at his side.
I'll do my very best.
I wish I could say it, but I just can't. I can't ask her to come with me. After all, she was always supposed to be coming to Britain as Kazuma's assistant.
It's growing late. We should both try to get some sleep. I'm sure you must be exhausted after today.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Before I retire, let me just say one more time. You really were quite splendid in court today. So if you ask me, anyone who thinks of you as a substitute or a locum should be ashamed of themselves.
Susato-san? Thank you. The way she's looking at us. All right. What now? Are we going to bed? Oh, it's early in the morning? Yeah, okay. 7th November, 5:42 a.m. Port of Dover, Quayside. All right. I can't believe this day's finally come.
You're really leaving then, Runo?
I'm afraid so, Iris. Thank you so much for everything. I don't know what I'll do without your wonderful cooking and delicious tea.
Oh, I wish you weren't going. But you have to come back and visit. Say you will.
Of course. I promise.
Well, it was a very brief reunion, but it was a pleasure to pursue a case with you again after so long. For a while at least, it felt like old times.
Yes, I suppose on reflection, there's something to be said for it. Having a little fun once in a while.
I'll just go and say goodbye to the professor as well, I think.
All right, Iris, you do that. Oh boy. The steamship's getting ready to leave.
Susato-san.
I've just checked, Naruhodo-san. Your luggage is already on board.
Oh boy.
Such a beautiful morning. Perfect for embarking on a journey, isn't it?
Before I set off, I'd just like to say how thankful I am for everything you've done for me. And give my warmest regards to Kazuma, please.
Oh boy.
Actually, I think you ought to give him your regards in person, don't you?
Sorry?
Is he
Ryunosuke.
here? Oh.
Kazuma! What are you doing here?
Do you
did-
really think I'd miss
Yeah, I
my
was gonna
best
say
friend's
that.
departure?
Thanks. To be honest, I'd been looking forward to our wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's capital. But,
Well, we'll have to save that for another time.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm looking forward to facing you in court again.
me too. But, we're both defense lawyers, so,
He's going to change to prosecutor, isn't he?
I'm going to become a prosecutor.
I
I'll
knew
stay
it.
in Lord Van Zeek's tutelage for the time being, but before long, I intend to be just as formidable as the Reaper himself.
oh.
He's
I
already got
see.
the expression.
Actually, Ryunosuke, I have a favor to ask.
Oh?
Name it.
Is he giving us his sword again?
I'd like you to take care of this for me for a while.
Karuma?
Again?
Why?
Because I've seen it now. I've seen what's inside me, the demon that reared its ugly head that day.
Oh. Are we going to get to see what happened?
It was only for the briefest of moments. The last time I came face to face with that inspector. But it was unmistakable. I wanted to kill him.
Oh, man. And he hadn't done anything.
I've always known there are demons that live inside people. And now I know there is one in me. The fact that it very nearly consumed me is something I'll carry with me. Until the end of my days. While I devote my life to fighting those whose demons have got the better of them.
That makes sense.
As a prosecutor,
Yeah, that... I understand the
So,
shift in focus.
That's what you've resolved to do, is it?
until I'm ready to face the demon within me, to slay it once and for all. I leave this in your care,
Okay.
if you'll take it.
Of course.
Of course I will. I'll keep it by my side. Always.
We're going to wear sword to court just like he does.
Until we meet again, then. You have your path to follow, and I have mine.
Naruhodo-san,
Oh boy.
the path you're going to follow from now on, I wonder if I might follow it at your side, and unless I'd be a burden.
Oh.
What?
We couldn't ask her, but she wants to go.
I mean, I would very much like you to come with me. But aren't you...
You're so predictable, Ryunosuke.
I am?
Honestly, you never change at all. But that's what I like about you.
You mean you knew about this?
It was the evening after Lord Van Zeek's trial came to an end. She came to see me at the prosecutor's office.
Oh, and she asked if she could go with us.
Really? Oh, when I had that conversation with Professor Mikotoba.
She was saying she
So,
wanted
you'd
to...
go with Ryunosuke back to Japan?
Yes. I know it's unfair of me to follow my own interest like this.
Coming here especially to tell me. You're a stickler for etiquette, aren't you? Well, what are his feelings?
We've never discussed it, of course, and Naruhodo-san has made no such suggestion. I worry that perhaps I'd be a burden to him.
Oh?
He's just as much of a stickler for etiquette as you are. He'd never say anything before he was asked.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I'd feel happy knowing you were with him. Look out for him on my behalf, will you?
Oh, she's gonna come with us.
Of course.
Nice. I wonder if they end up, like,
Susato-san.
getting married, because this is supposed to be, like, a prequel to some of the other games.
What do you think, Naruhodo-san?
With you by my side, no trial would seem too daunting. So if you're willing, I'd be honored if you'd come with me.
Aw,
Together we can take on the world.
nice.
I'm terribly incompetent, but if you have me, I'd be delighted.
She is not
no,
incompetent.
not at all. If anyone's terribly incompetent, it's me.
Ah! What's wrong?
Your luggage, Susato-san. There's no time. The ship's going to set sail any minute now.
She's like, I already have it
It's
on the
alright.
ship.
There's no need to worry. As it happens, my luggage is already on board too.
It is?
Your fine judicial assistant has everything in hand as always, I see.
Nice. It's getting ready to leave.
Your ship's about to leave!
Time to go then.
Oh boy.
Look after yourself, Ryunosuke.
Kazuma, draw your sword.
Oh? What's going to happen now? The sun is rising. Nice.
One day, when our paths cross, once more, we'll fight a duel of words across the courtroom.
Nice.
A day I eagerly await, as a lawyer.
I've been waiting to hear you say that. Partner.
Such a cinematic scene. Awesome. And now
Don't
it's
forget me
probably
then,
time.
Kazuma.
As if I could, Ryunosuke.
Oh boy.
And Mr. Sholmes, thank you so much. I'm very much indebted to you.
All right.
Indeed, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe you are.
I'll never forget all you've done for me during my time in London.
Quite. I should like to think you will remember your debt of gratitude. Especially when I visit you in your country. What? The truth is, although many are ignorant of the fact, the world is far smaller than most folk realize.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'd be delighted if you came to Japan one day.
He's like, well, I'm going today.
We welcome you with open arms, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, that sounds wonderful! I can't wait!
In that case, let us conclude that this is to be merely a brief parting, my dear fellows.
Oh boy. Of course, a brief parting. Nice.
And that brings us to the end of my adventures in Great Britain.
All right.
A peculiar
Yeah.
twist of fate brought me halfway around the world those many months ago. But that was just the start of my journey. Who knows where fate will lead me next? Still, I'm confident this won't be my last meeting with the friends I've made in London. And when we're together again, no doubt the first words I'll hear will be,
Come, the game is afoot.
Of course. Sholmes'
The
famous
ship,
words.
with our friends from the east, sailed steadily towards the distant horizon. But Sholmes' face was alight with joy.
The times may change, but a steadfast friendship will remain true, Wilson. We have but to gently close our eyes, and we are with our companions once more.
Oh boy.
So I do just that.
He closes her eyes to be back with her friends.
And when I do, I can hear his strong, familiar voice ring out.
Objection!
Until we meet
Awesome.
again, Bruno.
Nice. We did it. That's awesome. Man, that was amazing. Just how convoluted everything got. It got so crazy there. And there was just like, every time you zigged, you zagged, man. I've been thoroughly inundated with inquiries about my remote cinnamon tiger, but I'm no purveyor of electrical goods, and what of the promised closed court secrecy? Anyway, I've decided an absence from London is in order, a sojourn in distant climes. The Empire of Japan, perhaps. I understand that wardrobe class incurs no charge whatsoever. Really? He's gonna travel in the wardrobe? That's amazing. But yeah, every time you thought it was gonna go one way, it went another. I gave a little note to Hurley the other day. It just said, "Thank you for everything, Daddy," but it made Hurley cry. And I gave him some lotion I'd invented as well to dye his hair red safely. But he said that might make him cry too, so I'd rather not use it. Oh boy, man, we had some crazy adventures here. I'm so glad to find out that Kazuma's dad wasn't the professor, though. I mean, in those days, when I was known as the Reaper, I felt your presence at my side. Once, unable to bear the burden of that green pseudonym, I even retired from the courtroom. Despite everything, I still wear your prosecutor's badge with pride, for the darkness that once beset me is no more, as you two are no more. In the words of a young foreign friend of mine, I must stride forward toward a brighter future. Kazuma's gonna be his apprentice now? It's gonna be... Man, this is amazing. And there's Gina. The boss left a note for me, you know, and I can read every letter now, A to Z, the whole lot. It cleared a load of stuff up. The boss was trying to protect me, see? And that's exactly what me and Chief Inspector Toby here are gonna keep doing for Londoners. I only wish I could have said how grateful I was before, you know. Yeah, it would have been nice to be able to say goodbye to him, but, you know, it is what it is. Man, it's amazing Gina's story, too, how she just turned and became, like, totally on her side. Gina, the truth is, I'm not the upstanding fella you think I am. You might be a diver at heart, but it's a good heart. You reminded me I need to be true to myself. I've got one more job to take care of before it's ta-ta to London town for the foreseeable. And then I've got to complete your education in the art of detection a la Gregson, as they say. With his fish and chips. Always had them. Man, I'm glad that we even got to say goodbye to Gregson, because he was such a pivotal character. The only AA character speaking the critics posthumously. Yep. Your Excellency, this man is a legal entry. I didn't see it all. He's got so many cats. Objection! Oh, legal overstatement overruled. The ministry is saying in Britain anyway. Who is this cattish counsel for the defense? And women are forbidden in the courtroom. Oh, really? My friend Suzana-san is in the British courtroom all the time and doing a wonderful job. Perhaps I should have engaged the services of a regular legal team. Yeah, something crazy. Man, I can see things are going to be oh so exciting for Onosuke when he gets back to Japan. Oh boy. It's absolutely crazy. Mama, is it true about Japanese people? Are they experts at filleting corpses? Yes, they are. Fish corpses on the whole. I'd like to hone my own filleting skills. You don't mind, do you, Mama? Yes, I do. I'm not a corpse yet, am I? She's like, well, not yet. No, and I'm glad. She's a little twisted. A legal entry into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're going so fast. Like, I'm like, barely have time to read it. Here I am again in Great Britain on the invitation of my dear old university friend. He sent me a very nice letter saying he'd like to show me around now that everything was settled. But what have I done? I was so excited. I picked this splendid hotel and now I can't afford the bill. Oh, Barrett, come to my rescue again, please. I wish I could just vanish into thin air sometimes. I wonder if we'll hear from every character that we ran into. Well, we'll have to see. Oh, we get her. When I went to make the waxwork impressions of the killer in the cemetery, I realized what had happened. But even in the witness stand of the highest court in the land, I could never speak of it. The Lord Chief Justice and I had struck a bargain, you see. For a faithful reproduction of the visage, there is nothing Rita spells would not do. So she got her faithful reproduction, but she could never show it off. I guess that was the deal, basically. Hee, everyone calls me gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits to passerbys, you know. Hee, everyone calls me a papino, and I sell the spaghetti as my hair is more red than it. Hee, everyone they call me no. I cannot do it. This is ridiculous. Oh, dearie, how charming. You've made lots of new friends here, I see. Yes, and when we're released, we're all going to strike it. Oh, they're going to become a trio? Strike it rich, I guess it said? I don't know. Man, they're crazy. I guess Mrs. Vigil now knows the truth. Oh boy. I was accepted on a foreign study tour. I knew exactly what path I had to take, and however it might have ended, I knew that I wanted you there to see it. If I had ended up on the dock, there's no one I would have rather had defending me. Or in the dock. But now, thanks to you, there's a new path I want to take. We helped him become a prosecutor. I'm sure we'll meet again in the courtroom, my friend. Until then, I leave Kuruma in your care. Nice. It's nice to see that Kazuma came back around. Like, I was unsure of him for a little while there. He was cool at the beginning, and then after his amnesia bit, it was like, I don't know about all this, but this is on the one of the steamships. I've made some tea, Naruto-san. It's important that you rest what you can. Once we arrive in Japan, you shall be busy establishing. I'll be so delighted to accompany you. After all, your talents have been recognized by a great detective. Because you really are the greatest of lawyers. A great ace attorney, some might say. Oh, she's breaking the fourth wall. She's saying the name of the game. You're not supposed to do that. Oh boy. It's the nice picture. Awesome. I love it. We even got the little cat in there. That was Soseki's cat. Or no, I guess it was Iris's cat. I don't know. Maybe it was Soseki's and then she adopted it. I forget. Either way, that was awesome. I love that game. What does he got to see now? He's gonna walk his path back to Japan, I guess. He started in the title drop, fourth wall break, when a character speaks to the audience. Exactly. We have a fallback to the first case where she was pretending to be a guy in the courtroom. Sasato was. He's going... the Japanese prosecutor. That was the guy who ended up killing the British assassin. We have the inspector, Hasunaga or something like that, and then Suzuki, I think is his name. I forget all their names. We're going back to... This was the screen on the first case of Resolve. She comes with him. We're back at Baker Street. They're gonna follow. We're all gonna walk together. Remember these guys? I want to punch that guy in the face right there. He's so annoying. We have the... You know, it's funny because she is definitely dressed like a bee. Like, I know they talked about it, but I didn't realize her dress was actually striped. Yeah, see, that was Suseki's cat. And then I think Iris adopted it. Man, all these characters is crazy. This was from the third case, I think, about the World Exhibition. We have Madame Tuspels. Of course, Dr. Scythe and Dr. Gory. I think it was. She is definitely that, Gory. Which I just realized now when I said it out loud. I don't know how I played this whole game. I didn't realize that pun, but you know, there you go. There's Vigil in his costume and Vigil out of his costume. Man, everyone just has so many interesting characters in this series, I swear. They all march to the end. Oh, Sholmes dropped off. Where did Sholmes go? And then we have Inspector Gregson and and Gina and Toby. Oh, okay, that's why Sholmes had to drop off so he could be dancing with Mikatoba. Professor Mikatoba. And then you are supposed to be in jail, sir. You screwed up too. You also screwed up. These power-hungry power mongers. Yeah, you go ahead and slow clap for yourself. And we're finally to the ship. Oh boy. Where we see Kazuma. And are they gonna do their sword thing again? They're gonna meet in the courtroom. Once again. That was like the entire series in 5 minutes, basically. But yeah, that was awesome. And now he's off to his new adventures. I don't know if there's longest end credits ever, but hey, it's worth it, man. All the build-up for the credits, man. Like, honestly, the whole last hour of the game was credits. And then this is the Japanese courtroom once again, where it all began. We finished where we started. Oh boy. They had to do a proper resolution for all the build up. So there you go. We have completed it. Nice. Fini. It is done. What is this screen? Oh man. That's a crazy screen. Is it good? Are we gonna get that screen? No, I don't think we'll get that screen when it goes back. That would be cool though. When it goes back to the main screen. We do get this one though, so. Alright, we have done it. We have finished the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So my understanding is that this is a prequel game to the Phoenix Wright games. So I'll have to see what comes next, like kind of chronologically, and then we'll pick that up when we resume our next game. So I loved this. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Definitely worth playing. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Even having played it, I could watch people play it because it's just so. It's just a really good book. It's a really good graphic novel in game form. So I hope you guys enjoyed this whole series, all the episodes in both of the games. And if you do, then please remember to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/Lear27. I have my schedule posted in the about and in the description. And if you want to see which games we're playing each day, I post them on x.com/Lear27. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Until then, guys, bye. And now I can finally redeem the hydrate request that came through like 10 minutes ago that I couldn't do because it was in the middle of the credits. Man, that was awesome. So I don't know. I've got some Phoenix Wright games in my library, but I don't know which one comes next. So we'll have to figure it out. But anyways, that is going to be it for today. So we will be back here tomorrow, though, at 3 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be playing some more Disco Elysium with the grittiest detective RPG game ever, where I will probably make the worst decisions that will go the opposite direction that I would like my character to do. But we will still be trying that. And then afterwards, we will be heading back to Mist 4, where we are on a prison planet, and we're trying to figure out what happened here, because one of the brothers seems to have escaped, and that's not good. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be all kinds of interesting, but we will be doing that tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central tomorrow. Right now, let's do something 180% different from what this experience was, and we will raid Cole the Feeble. He is playing Left 4 Dead, and I have never heard of it, but it looks like it's a shooter game, so I'm sure people will enjoy that. But anyways, I hope you guys had fun. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate everyone, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. So until then, guys, I'll see you later. Bye!